Read family, I hope everybody's doing well. Today I'm going to read to you Cinderella, a fairy tale from long ago. Before we do that though, I want to show you I made the wand. I used just things I had laying around the house. I had a paint stick. You could use a paint stick or a wooden spoon. And I got some pipe cleaners that I'm sure came in your read packets that you've gotten. And I just wrapped them around. Then I got some paper, some construction paper, and I cut out a star the best I could. Stapled it together. You can decorate it, paint it, whatever you have at home. And I made my wand. My bippity boppity boo wand. Cinderella. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a widowed gentleman and his lovely daughter Ella. Ella was a beautiful girl. She had golden hair and her eyes were as blue as forget-me-nots. The gentleman was kind and he was a devoted father, and he gave Ella everything her heart desired. But he felt she needed a mother, so he married again, choosing his wife, a woman who had 2 daughters. Their names were Anastasia and Drizella. The gentleman soon died. Then a stepmother's true nature was revealed. She was only interested in her ugly, selfish daughters. The stepmother gave Ella a little room in the attic, old rags to wear, and the housework to do. Soon everyone called her Cinderella because she got so covered with cinders from cleaning the fireplace. But Cinderella had many friends. The old horse and Bruno the dog loved her. The mice loved her too. She protected them from the grandmother's nasty cat, Lucifer. 2 of their favorite mice were Gus and Jacques. Cinderella was kind to everyone, even to Lucifer, but Lucifer only took advantage of her kindness. Lucifer liked to get Cinderella in trouble. One morning, he chased Gus onto Anastasia's breakfast tray. She screamed and blamed Cinderella. As punishment, the stepmother said to Cinderella, "You will wash the windows, scrub the terrace, and sweep the halls, and don't forget the laundry." In another part of the kingdom, the king was worrying about his son. "It's time for the prince to get married," he told the Grand Duke. "But sire," said the Grand Duke, "he must fall in love first." "No buts about it. We'll have a ball tonight. It will be very romantic. Send out the invitations." When the invitation arrived, Cinderella's stepmother announced, "Every girl in the kingdom is invited to the ball in honor of the prince." "Why, that means I can go too," Cinderella said. "Well, yes," said the stepmother with a sly smile. "But only if you get all your work done and only if you have something suitable to wear." Cinderella had hoped to fix her old party dress, but Anastasia and Drizella wanted her to help them instead. The stepmother kept her busy too. Cinderella worked hard all day long. When she finally came back to her little attic room, it was almost time to leave for the ball, and the dress wasn't ready. But the loyal mice had managed to find ribbons, sashes, ruffles, and bows. The mice had sewn them to her party dress, and it looked beautiful. The stepsisters shrieked when they saw Cinderella. "Those are my ribbons, that's my sash." They tore her dress to shreds. "Come along now, girls," said the stepmother. Cinderella ran into the garden. She wept and wept. Suddenly, a hush fell over the garden, and a cloud of lights began to twinkle and glow around Cinderella's head. "Come on, dry those tears," said a gentle voice. Then a small woman appeared in the cloud. "You can't go to the ball like that. Now where's my magic wand?" "Magic wand?" gasped Cinderella. "Are you my fairy godmother?" the woman replied, pulling her magic wand out of the thin air. "What we need is a pumpkin." A cloud of sparks floated across the garden. A pumpkin rose up and swelled into an elegant coach. The mice turned into horses, and the horses became the coachmen, and Bruno became the footman. "Now off you go, dearie," said the woman. "But my dress," said Cinderella. The fairy godmother looked at it. Good heavens! With a wave of her wand, she turned Cinderella's rags into an exquisite gown. On Cinderella's feet were tiny glass slippers. "Now remember," the fairy godmother said, "you must leave the ball at midnight. That's when the spell will be broken and all will be as it was before." Cinderella promised. Then she stepped into her magical coach and was swept away to the palace. When Cinderella arrived at the ball, the prince was yawning with boredom. Then he caught sight of her. Ignoring everything around him, the prince walked over to her. He kissed Cinderella's hand and asked her to dance. They swirled off across the ballroom. The prince never left Cinderella's side. They danced every dance together. As everyone watched them, the lights dimmed and the sweet music floated out into the summer night. And then Cinderella heard the clock begin to chime. And then Cinderella, "Oh no," she gasped. "It's midnight. I must go." "Wait, come back," called the prince. Cinderella hurried down the palace steps. In her haste, she lost one of her glass slippers, but she had no time to pick it up. She leapt into the waiting coach. As soon as the coach went through the gates, the magic spell broke. Cinderella found herself standing by the side of the road, dressed in her old rags. On her foot, she still wore the other glass slipper. Her coachman was the old horse again, and her footman was Bruno the dog. Her coach was an old hollow pumpkin, and her horses were 4 of her mouse friends. They looked sadly at Cinderella. They all hurried home. They had to be back before the others returned from the ball. The next day, the stepmother told the girls that the Grand Duke was coming to see them. He's searching the kingdom for the young lady whose foot fits the slipper. Whoever she is will marry the prince. Cinderella smiled and hummed the very waltz that had been played at the ball. The stepmother became suspicious. She locked Cinderella in her room. Gus and Jock had a plan to help Cinderella. While Anastasia and Drizella tried to squeeze their big feet into the little glass slipper, the 2 mice sneaked into the stepmother's pocket. They got a hold of the key, tugged it up the steps, and unlocked the door. Cinderella rushed downstairs to try on the glass slipper. "Your Grace," she said, "may I try on the slipper?" The wicked stepmother fumed with anger. She tripped the page who was holding the glass slipper. It fell to the floor and broke into 1,000 pieces. "Don't worry," Cinderella said, reaching into her pocket. "I have the other one right here." She put on the slipper and it fit perfectly. From that moment on, everything was a dream come true. Cinderella went off to the palace with the happy Grand Duke. The prince was overjoyed to see her, and so was the king. Cinderella and the prince were soon married. In her happiness, Cinderella didn't forget about her animal friends. They all moved into the castle. Everyone in the kingdom was delighted with the prince's new bride, and Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you have fun making your wand. Have a great day, everybody.